Hi there, welcome to the Lovefly Fear of Flying Q&A. My name's Paul Tizard and I'm one of the people behind the scenes, one of the admins that works at Lovefly, and thank you very much. I'm sorry it's later than advertised today. I've just travelled from North Wales to Manchester, then back down to Birmingham, and the trains were a bit naughty, and so I ended up being a bit later than I hoped. So yeah, sorry about that. But like I say, this is recorded, and for those on different time zones, you don't care anyway. And those watch on the recorders, you don't care either. So, but I apologise to anybody who was expecting it to go live at 7 o'clock tonight, and it didn't. So there you go. Apologies over. I just want to say welcome for those who are new to our group and to Lovefly, to the different things that we offer. We've got the YouTube channel, which is Lovefly Team. We've got the Facebook group, which is Lovefly. That's it. It's a private group, creeping up to just under 4,000 members at the moment. I've got the Instagram account, which is at Lovefly Help, and a few other places that we're going to start to get around to. But yeah, so that's where our main bits are. I just want to say welcome, huge welcome, and also welcome to all the new members that have joined different groups this week. So thank you very much for being part of this. And of course, it would go without, it'd be remiss of me not to say a massive thank you to those of you that support each other, and that's a lot of you, you know. So I think one of the things that makes the Lovefly community so great is how much each other help. They help each other, but also the lack of judgment, you know. So it doesn't. I don't feel like I ever see any comments criticizing, judging, or anything like that in any of the groups things that we run. So it's just very heartening to see. So thank you for doing that. Okay, podcast this week. We have Mark Searle, who is the Global Director of Safety at IATA, which is a global institution based in Canada, but they have offices and they're based all over the world. Phenomenal organization that that advise and help to set standards of safety across all their member airlines, and there's a ton of them, you know. So that's a really interesting podcast. So check that out this Wednesday at 7 o'clock. It will be released UK 7 o'clock UK time on the Lovefly podcast, but which is also on Spotify, Google, Amazon, all those other places. But also we will release it at the same time on our Lovefly Team YouTube channel as well. So if you'd rather watch it, you can watch it. So that's a really great, really reassuring stuff in terms of the regulations and the help that's available to people, you know. And I'll get to the questions in a sec. So a lot of people have been asking us about what sort of resources are available. And as you know, we've had the 30-day program running for a while, which we are revamping as we speak. And there'll be a new version probably released in the new year, and probably a slightly different price point. We're going to just, it stayed the same price for over 2 years. So there's a good chance that will go up a little bit. And it's got tons and tons of stuff in there, which has really helped people with their mindset and the technical side of it. And there's always at least 10 people at any time as graduates on this on the 30-day program. We're also going to be launching a live face-to-face workshop in Manchester, UK, on the 13th of April. So that will be available to book soon. There's only going to be limited spaces on it. There'll be no more than 20 spaces on it. And this is the first time we've run a face-to-face live program for quite a while, actually, a couple of years. And as you know, over the 26 years, I worked out the other day that I've been working with Nervous Flyers, used to run courses all the time, all over the country, sometimes in the US as well. And they were face-to-face, mostly with flights, but not always. And the idea of that is that it'll give you a chance to practice all the things, but also ask us whatever you want. Meet the team, so Captain Steve and Sarah and Susan and me and John and maybe some others. We're yet to confirm that, but yeah, yes, it's going to be a nice little gathering, and it's going to be in the facilities which are just phenomenal, belonging to Sky People, which have like an aircraft mock-up. There's working doors. You can touch all the stuff. You can see all the equipment that's on board available to help nervous flyers, and any flyers actually. You don't have to be nervous. Yeah. So all of that's available to have a good old get hands on with, and lots of stuff. So we'll tell you more about that. That's going to be released before Christmas, and so we're still just working on the finer details of what it's going to make sure that it's cost effective to run it and get us all up there and all the rest of it, because we're all based all over the place. So that's going to be a fantastic opportunity, and one of many to get going, and in other locations as well, where we will use facilities on the ground with smallish groups to give you that personal attention that we know that you like, and to extend the community to some new humans, and reinforce things for people that perhaps just need that little bit of extra help that podcasts aren't giving them. But there's some, it's going to be a fabulous day, and we're really looking forward to running that. So to the questions. One moment, caller. So now, sod's law, just as I turn. There we go. Okay, so Michaela says, what would you say if someone you say to someone, if you were boarding a plane and you could see they were struggling with fear, I'd say please still get on. And it depends actually on what the person's like. So quite often a bit of reassurance is enough, just to say, look, you're okay. A lot of people are scared of flying. 1 in 5. We will check on you. Have you let us know already? Because if so, we've already know about you. We know where you're sitting. If not, tell us where you are. One of us, time permitting, will just keep an eye on you. Is there anything you want to ask? Is there anything you need? It just depends on the airline. Depends on if it's a long flight, short flight, and all the rest of it. All of us would always do the best we could to help and reassure a nervous flyer. I've come across very few instances where you've got cabin crew, for example, that are too busy to care. I think that they'll always do that. The nature of that sort of job attracts people who want to help others and want to reassure, and they want to tell you things to help you. So it depends on them. Also depends on you. So some people just want to sort of, they just need to tell someone, and then they feel better just for saying it. For others, it's a case of I need a bit more information. If there's time, the pilot sometimes will come out and talk to you, and that can be quite helpful. But it's all sort of time dependent. But the main thing is we'll do whatever we can to reassure you in the moment. But do let the airline know beforehand if you feel that's helpful to do that. I mean, eventually they'll get a stage when you keep chipping away at this fear that, like a lot of people that we've seen, the thousands that we've seen over the years that have been helped, eventually you don't need to tell the cabin crew. It's kind of an optional thing. But even people that have well past the fear sometimes just tell them as one of those last little rituals that they haven't quite let go of. But it's all fine. It's all just, you got to do what you need to do at the time, and then the thing is, do something afterwards. So if you like that when you fly, then that means that when you come back, you need to do some work. So listen to the podcasts and things like our Lovefly podcast is a really easy way to access things. You listen to those whilst you're driving to work or on a train or anything, and then you're just getting daily reminders of good stuff, whether it's technical or whether it's other people's stories who've been where you are. So that's the sort of stuff we would say, Okay, so Deborah says, where is the best place to start overcoming your fears? Here. All right. I joined the group a couple of weeks before my holiday in October. I downloaded some podcasts, but couldn't get them to load on the plane. Ended up crying next to my 12-year-old grandson. I'm sorry to hear that. That's tough. Feel awful about that, and really needs to change. Okay, so a lot of people say that. A lot of people, they get to a place. So, and Elizabeth has already taken some time to answer you. Thank you, Elizabeth. And you've said it takes time, but this group and binging on the podcast really helps. Well, it has me. I'm so nearly completely cured, inverted commas, after being here for maybe a year, or maybe even less than that. So there you go. So I think it's just a time thing. So I know some people have literally found the podcast like 24 hours before I'm gone. Oh crap, what do I do? Episode 130 is literally for that, oh crap, I'm flying tomorrow, what do I do? It's a bit of a longer episode, but it's lots of superstars on there and some technical advice to help you, and some very quick strategies to sort of get you there. So yeah, I'd say it's, you've had that's happened to you, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen again. You've still got time, to just get going on the podcast, find a way to test download them. Some people suggest getting the Wi-Fi on the aircraft if it's available. It might be $10 or something. Then you know you can access stuff while you're up there. But if you download them and then turn your phone into airplane mode and test that they still play while you're on the ground, then they'll play when they're up there as well. There's no reason why they won't. Yeah, I know you know that, but when you get nervous, sometimes your easy brain sort of goes, "Oh, that's it, it's all gone." So yeah, just keep going with this, keep chipping away at it, and we're all here to help you to get past this and consider taking in lots of things. Go towards whatever you find helps you, and steer away from stuff which is, if you feel like, oh, I don't want to watch this, then don't look at it. Look at, take it easy, step at a time, do the stuff that feels comfortable for you. And that's why we think the podcasts are a great, safe way. Also, contributing in this group like you have in the Facebook group can give you some sort of confidence that you're not alone. It's 1 in 5 people. That's a lot. It's a lot of humans. So Jenny says, I feel like I can't hear enough about reassurance about turbulence. Yep, that's great. A lot of people say that actually. It's my biggest fear. I'm flying in a few weeks for the first time since finding Lovefly, and I know so much more now than I ever have, but my anxiety is still high. Wind, storm, rain, etc. Can it truly not take a plane down? Nope. Strong gusts of wind? Nope. I'm flying out of Palm Springs. It can be so windy, is what she's written. Okay. And into Edmonton, which of course can have crazy weather. It's just weather. Flying this time of year always makes me so scared because of weather. I know you'll have to summarize this, but I'm trying to get a handle on this and make my family proud of my improvement when it comes to flying with me. They are. The fact that you're doing anything are really not fun to travel with. No. Most nervous flyers aren't. No disrespect. Okay, and keep doing the baby steps. So yeah, I can't. I don't know how many times I can say it, but I'm going to say it again because a lot of people need to hear it. That at some point you will accept that turbulence, if you're strapped in, it's not going to bother the aircraft. If you're strapped to the aircraft might move about. It might be uncomfortable, might be a bit rock and roll, but you're all right. Nothing will happen to you. You might spill your drink. Might feel a bit nauseous. Honestly, it's no harm can come to you. I don't know how many times we can say it, but just keep listening to it until eventually one day you'll start to believe it yourself. But it won't be like a big wake up one day and go, oh, I love turbulence. It might just be like, oh, I noticed I didn't check the weather app before I flew this time, or I wasn't concentrating on the flight map the whole journey over, keeping an eye on the flight, make sure it stays up. So little things like that, and have a bit of a laugh with yourself, just sort of go, you know what, I've been beating myself up about this and I wasn't born with it. It's never too late to learn something else. And be curious about why you're doing this. What is it that you do? How do you know when to get scared? How do you know, what is your process? Start to be curious about how does this start? What is it that triggers me? Is it a smell? Is it a noise? Is it a sound? Is it a movement? Is it a thought? Is it before I even start to fly? Is it only when I get on board? Is it certain aircraft, certain places I sit? Is it the partner I'm flying with? No, anyway, but there'll be something that you have a process, a unique process, and it's just to be curious about it and maybe just be a bit light-hearted with yourself and go, why would I do this to myself? Why am I doing this? Okay? Because, like I say, you weren't born with it, so it's never too late to learn something else because you learned it. Okay. Okay. Liliana says, on my last flight, I had another anxiety attack, and there was no turbulence. Would you feel happier if there was turbulence? Plane was shaking a bit, but seatbelts were off, and people were walking up and down. The plane always shaking. People who are scared of flying are hyper aware of it. But for me, my goodness, it was a case of life or death. Okay, I wish I could be a normal person. You are a normal person, enjoying a flight like everybody else. And not everybody else is enjoying a flight. And not everybody, even if they're not nervous, enjoys a flight. I find it a pain in the arse. If I do more than about 4 hours, I am the most annoying passenger, just like, oh, bored, pacing about. So I think you're giving yourself a bit of a hard time here, Liliana, don't mind me saying, because the plane is always moving. it's always moving. And if you're not a nervous flyer, you don't really notice it, but nervous flyers tend to really notice it. I've been sat on flights and someone's been literally every sort of 3 seconds is just going when I used to do like the fear of flying courses with aircraft. And I'm like, what did I miss? You know, and because when you are sort of like hyper alert, you're like in this sort of, you're in the terror state, and then you're even more noticing everything. It's a bit like if you went to the dentist and they said relax, and you go, I am relaxed. Look at me, I'm relaxed, and then everything would hurt. And that's what it's like on flying. So sometimes it's very easy to sort of make it even worse for yourself because you're rigid and expecting. Really, you just need to learn to flop, sit into the seat, get your seatbelt on, and just sort of flop and just accept that I'm all right. Eventually I'll land, and eventually I might even start to like this, but it's just going to take a bit of time. How long? Who knows? It's different for everybody. So stop beating yourself up. All right. You're a normal person. Well, I haven't met you, but I'm assuming you are. You seem normal. Picture looks normal. Not that's anything to go by, but you could be normal. Also, it disturbs you people walking inside the aircraft. You prefer them walk outside? Uh, Feels like they are contributing to the plane's movements. How silly. No, you're not silly. A lot of people think that. Sometimes when because the next person says, Elizabeth said, yeah, I know yesterday my flight, there was a male, quite tall and very heavy footed. That could be me, actually. Flight attendant. Oh, no, I'm not flight attendant. He walked past and I felt a shake. I also thought, how silly of me, and luckily it was not frightened by it, but I completely empathise. Yeah, nice. Thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah, so it can feel like that. If someone goes bounding down the aircraft, like some people do, and they're like walking with purpose, boing, 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 because it is a suspended doodah. It's like a super strong structure. The whole thing is ridiculously strong, but there is a little bit of movement in it. It's meant, aircraft are meant to be a bit flexy, so they do make noises when they move and stuff like that. They're supposed to. That's all normal. Noise is good. So, but yeah, a lot of people have said to me, it really disturbs me when people walk about, and it makes no difference to the aircraft. Honestly, uh, it's it's just too well weight distributed, and the aircraft are so clever in the way that they can adjust for like where the weight is, and everything's known before. We're trying to get a weight distribution person on the podcast, by the way, so you can talk about one of the loaders, just sort of say, how do you do it, how do you work out where everything goes, but it is all finely balanced, and then passengers are all taken account for. So you stomping about makes no difference to the flight. So stomp away, that's what I say. And that is the last of the questions that I can see. I'm just going to up to date just have a quick look at the phone again. Oh, there's a new one. I'm going to just read it fresh. It could be risky. I don't know what he's going to say. There we go. Brian, he says, hello, you've helped me so much to make flying more manageable in recent months for me, even the flight to Australia. Next time we fly, we are facing two small children who have never flown before. I don't want to transfer any fears onto them and want to make it exciting for them. Any tips on how to balance keeping my strategies alive to get me through whilst making the kids' first time on a plane a fabulous experience, please? One of my things is to be by the window so I can film takeoff and landing and also listen to music. Sorry, it's disappeared then. I feel like um, that I wouldn't be focused enough on the children. It's starting to worry me that I can't figure out the balance. Yeah, well, it depends how old they are, really. I mean, I wonder if you can involve them. So, for example, before you fly away, Bryony, nice to hear from you again, by the way. Could you get them involved? Like get the Pete Higgins checklist out. Pete Higgins, eh? Get the checklist out and go through it with them, and maybe watch some YouTube videos and sort of go, look, we're going to go on one of these. It's going to be exciting. Why don't we do a playlist that we can listen to or take off and flight? And what are you going to bring your favorite whatever's to do for the kids. And depending on how long the flight is, obviously you might have in-flight entertainment, and then you can just like be a guilt-free parent and stick in front of the mini TV. And but yeah, just bring stuff. That's what I'd say. Is try and make it fun for them. And you could say, should we film it? shall I film a bit of it? Just like try and get them involved. Like just make it a bit of a game and say, I'm going to do 10 minutes filming now. You draw a picture of something, that flight attendant stomping up and down the aircraft, or Pete Higgins reading you the checklist, something like that, and then just make it a bit fun, because they read from us. So I would say verbalize, externalize, sort of talk about it, like make it fun, talk it through the checklist, watch the YouTube takeoff and landing type videos that are out there, the safe ones, like from Mentor Pilot or something like that, or that one that's at LA where they just take off and land all the time, It's just something where they can kind of go, look at that, isn't that going to be fun, So just normalize it. And every time you're talking to them, you're also convincing yourself. That's a little trick, you see, a little secret. Does that help? Don't know, you haven't replied yet. Anyway, hope it does. So yeah, like I say, just to finish, thanks again for being part of this community, for helping each other out. It's just brilliant. We just love it, And having done this now for 26 years of helping nervous flyers, and to think of the thousands and thousands of people just like you that have been at where you are and now are flying. We don't say the word cured because that's a matter of subjectivity, So it's like if you feel like you've overcome it and you feel happier with it, that's great. Some people still feel they need to work on it a bit. Some are like completely, I'm done with it. That's it. I've let go of it now. I've given, it's run my life for too long now, and I'm now letting go of it, handing it on. But just it's completely possible to feel very, very different about flying. So you don't have to live with this forever. You can learn to get past this and to get to a place where you've overcome your fear, like thousands of normal people just like you, and you are normal. You just get into bad habits, and you've practiced them. You practice how to be scared, and then you keep doing it. Keep doing the same things and expecting different results. You've got to do something different. You've got to do a pattern interrupt. So it doesn't have to be major things. It can just put your watch on your other wrist. It doesn't, it's just do something different to kind of notice, oh, I'm consciously interrupting a typical pattern I do. Do you know what I mean? So it's just lots of little things like that that just all add up to creating this sort of like, I'm feeling different about it. I'm being hopeful. I'm keeping a growth mindset, if you like. I know it's possible to learn a new way to be with flying because, like I say, you weren't born with it. It's been learned. Never too late to learn something new. I've said that once or twice. So, Mark Searle IATA, Global Director of Security for IATA. So he's a lovely guy, big cheese, grand fromage. He'll be on Wednesday morning, and then we also got the course coming up. Don't forget, we've got a 30-day program that's still available at the moment. It's always there, and we've got the new course coming out on the 13th of April. We're hoping to have another one around that time in a different location, but at the moment we're just having a few challenges getting the venue sort of sorted side of it. But yes, the Manchester one is 99.9% definite, 13th of April, 20 places only. That's all there'll be. So there may be more in future, but for this one, we'll be limited to 20 people. So hopefully some of you lovely people will be on there. Great to see you. Anyway, take care. Have a good evening, afternoon, whatever time zone you're in, and catch you next time. Cheers for now. Bye.